The soft hum of the city at night seeped through our open window, a lullaby to the chaos of the day. I leaned back into the cushions of our couch, the fabric slightly worn from years of use, but still comforting in its familiarity. The glow from my laptop screen cast a soft light in the dimly lit living room of our apartment, a cozy, cluttered space filled with memories of the life Mark and I built together over the past 6 years. It was our sanctuary in the heart of the bustling city, a testament to our dreams and the challenges we'd faced, hand in hand. I was scrolling through photos from a recent family trip, a smile tugging at my lips as I relived those precious moments, when an accidental click on an old folder redirected me to Mark's archived emails. Curiosity nudged me, a whispering voice urging me to take a peek, promising a glimpse into thoughts he might have shared with friends before our marriage. What I found instead was a punch to the gut, a thread of emails between Mark and someone named Elena, their words painting a vivid picture of betrayal. My heart raced, a cacophony of emotions flooding me. The room suddenly felt smaller, the walls closing in as I read and reread the emails, each word a strike against the sanctity of our marriage. How could he? Questions spiraled in my mind, each one a sharp sting of betrayal. "Hey, what are you up to?" Mark's voice, light and unsuspecting, cut through the heavy silence as he walked into the room. I snapped the laptop shut, the sound echoing loudly in the tense air. "We need to talk," I said, my voice barely above a whisper, yet carrying the weight of my shattered trust. Mark paused, sensing the shift in atmosphere. "What's wrong?" he asked, taking a tentative step forward. "How could you?" The words tumbled out, a mix of disbelief and pain. "All these years, I thought we had something special." Mark's face paled, confusion giving way to realization as he followed my gaze to the closed laptop. "Emily, he began, but the words seemed to fail him. The silence that followed was deafening, a chasm widening between us with each passing second. I searched his face for the man I thought I knew, the man I had vowed to spend my life with, but all I could see was a stranger. I was lost, Emily. I didn't realize then that I had everything I ever wanted with you," Mark finally said, his voice laced with regret, but his words, meant to soothe, only fueled the fire raging within me. The man before me was not the partner I had loved and trusted. He was a mere shadow of that person, tainted by the revelation of his infidelity. I stood up, the movement abrupt, a physical manifestation of the need to distance myself from the pain. "I need some time," I managed to say, my voice breaking. Without waiting for a response, I grabbed my coat and headed for the door, leaving behind the shattered pieces of our life together. As I stepped out into the cool night air, the city lights blurred through my tears, each step away from our apartment a step into the unknown. The future we had envisioned together, once bright and promising, now seemed like a distant dream, obscured by the shadow of betrayal. The world outside seemed indifferent to my turmoil, the city pulsing with life as if to mock the sudden void within me. I found myself wandering aimlessly, the cold night air a sharp contrast to the warmth I had left behind. Eventually, I sought refuge in Sarah's apartment, a close friend who had always been there for me. Her place, much like her personality, was warm and inviting, a sharp contrast to the chaos churning inside me. Sarah didn't ask questions when she saw me. The tears streaming down my face were enough. She simply wrapped me in a hug, the kind that said everything without a word being spoken. That night, I lay awake on her couch, staring at the ceiling as shadows danced across the room, each shape a reminder of the shattered illusion of my marriage. Meanwhile, Mark was enveloped in the silence of our apartment, the emptiness amplifying his solitude. I imagined him sitting at the dining table, the one we had picked out together, surrounded by the ghosts of our shared dreams. He had always been the thinker, the tinkerer, lost in his world of codes and creations. But now, faced with the reality of his actions, his usual escapes offered no solace. He called, texted, his messages a mix of apologies and pleas for me to come home so we could talk. But how could I? How could we undo what had been revealed? His betrayal wasn't just a moment of weakness. It was a specter that had loomed over us, unseen until now. Days turned into weeks. The routine of work at the pediatric ward a welcome distraction. My interactions with the children, their innocence and laughter, offered brief moments of respite from my own heartache. But the facade was exhausting. Smiling when my heart was breaking felt like the ultimate betrayal to myself. Mark and I eventually agreed to meet, not as husband and wife, but as two strangers navigating the wreckage of our relationship. We chose a public park, neutral ground, under the guise of autumn's golden canopy. The beauty of the season, with its vibrant hues and crisp air, felt incongruous with the tumult of our emotions. "Emily, please, let's try to fix this," Mark said, his voice a mixture of desperation and hope. The man before me was a far cry from the confident individual I had fallen in love with. His eyes, once bright with dreams and ideas, now reflected the gravity of our situation. "I don't know if I can," I admitted, the words heavy on my tongue. "How do I trust you again? How do we move past this?" Mark reached out, his hand hovering in the air between us before dropping to his side, a physical retreat mirroring our emotional one. I made a mistake, a terrible mistake, but I love you, Emily. I'm willing to do whatever it takes. The sincerity in his voice tugged at my heart, a reminder of the love that had once been the foundation of our relationship. Yet, the doubt lingered, a persistent shadow that no amount of words could dispel. As we sat there, amidst the fallen leaves and the whisper of the wind, the path forward was unclear. The trust that had been the bedrock of our relationship was now a field of rubble, and the thought of rebuilding seemed a task too daunting to comprehend. Yet, the love that had bound us together, however frayed, held a glimmer of hope, a possibility that perhaps, through the pain and the betrayal, a new foundation could be laid. The decision to step into Dr. Lisa Hammond's office felt like crossing an invisible threshold, one that led to uncertain terrain. The office itself was a calm oasis amidst the city's bustle, with soft, inviting colors and large windows that let in streams of gentle sunlight. It was a place that seemed to whisper, "It's okay to not be okay." Dr. Hammond greeted us with a warmth that felt both professional and genuinely caring. Her eyes held a depth of understanding, as if she could see the weight of the pain we carried and offered, in exchange, a safe space to lay it down, even if just for a while. Our sessions began slowly, with Dr. Hammond guiding us through the tangled web of our emotions and thoughts. At first, our conversations were like navigating a minefield, each of us tiptoeing around the hurt, afraid of saying something that could cause more damage. But Dr. Hammond's patience was a steady presence, her questions a gentle prod towards opening up. "I'm not sure I can forget," I found myself admitting one day, the words feeling like a betrayal to the part of me that wanted to fiercely hold on to the hurt. "But I'm willing to try for us, for our family." Mark's hand found mine, a tentative touch that spoke volumes. "I know I don't deserve it, Emily, but thank you. I'm here, and I'm willing to do the work, whatever it takes." Our therapy sessions became a tapestry of revelations, each thread a story, a feeling, a moment that had shaped us. Dr. Hammond helped us see not just the narrative of betrayal, but also the moments of connection and love that had been overshadowed. She encouraged us to communicate, to really listen to each other, not just to the words being said, but to the emotions behind them. It was during one of these sessions that I truly looked at Mark for the first time since the revelation, saw the remorse etched deeply in his features, and the genuine effort he was putting into understanding the pain he had caused. It was a pivotal moment, one where the anger and betrayal began to give way to a cautious empathy. "We're building something new here," Dr. Hammond said one day, her voice steady and sure. "It's not about going back to how things were, but moving forward into what they can become. It's about choosing each other, again and again, even when it's hard." Her words were a beacon in the fog that had settled over us, a reminder that while the past couldn't be changed, the future was still ours to shape. The work was hard, and there were days when the hurt seemed too deep, the gap between us too wide. But slowly, through the guided conversations, the shared tears, and the moments of laughter that began to peek through the cracks, a new understanding began to form. This new foundation was fragile, still vulnerable to the storms of doubt and fear, but it was real. For the first time since the revelation, there was a glimmer of hope, a sense that maybe, just maybe, we could navigate this journey together. The path ahead was uncertain, filled with challenges yet to come, but also with the possibility of healing, of rebuilding trust one step at a time. And in that space, within Dr. Hammond's office, we began to learn that love, in its truest form, isn't just a feeling but a choice to try, to forgive, and perhaps to find our way back to each other. The air between us had changed. It was as if through our sessions with Dr. Hammond, we'd started to weave a delicate web of understanding, fragile yet resilient in its own way. Our apartment, once a battleground of silent meals and colder nights, began to see the return of cautious conversations and shared spaces. It was in these moments, surrounded by the mundane routines of daily life, that the true test of our commitment to rebuild lay. One evening, as autumn painted the city in hues of orange and gold, Mark and I found ourselves in the kitchen together, a scenario that had become rare in the past months. The task was simple, preparing dinner, but the act felt symbolic, a dance of cooperation and silent communication. As he chopped vegetables, I found myself watching him, noticing the furrow in his brow that always appeared when he was focused. It was a familiar sight, one that brought a sense of nostalgia and a pang of longing for the ease we once shared. "Remember our first attempt at cooking together?" I ventured, the question hanging in the air like a tentative olive branch. Mark looked up, a hint of a smile tugging at his lips. How could I forget? The kitchen looked like a disaster zone. The memory brought a genuine laugh between us, a sound that felt like a balm to the countless wounds we were nursing. It was a step, albeit small, towards finding our way back to each other, to remembering the love that had been overshadowed by pain and betrayal. In the weeks that followed, we began to implement the tools and strategies Dr. Hammond had equipped us with. Communication was at the forefront, a conscious effort to share our thoughts and feelings without fear of judgment. It wasn't always easy. There were days when the hurt felt too fresh, the barriers too high. But the commitment to try to really listen and understand made the difference. One night, as we sat curled up on the couch, a vulnerability between us, Mark spoke words that felt like he was baring his soul. "I'm sorry for the pain I've caused you, Emily. I know apologies can't change the past, but I'm here, willing to work on us, to be the partner you deserve." His words, sincere and heartfelt, reached a place in me that I had guarded fiercely against further hurt. It was a moment of raw honesty, a pledge to rebuild what had been broken. The decision to renew our vows wasn't made lightly. It was a culmination of the small steps we had taken towards each other, a testament to the belief that our love, though tested, could endure. The ceremony was intimate, a gathering of close friends and family who had supported us through our darkest times. Standing there, with Mark by my side, I felt a mix of emotions: hope, love, and a lingering sadness for the innocence lost. Yet, as we spoke our vows, this time with a deeper understanding of their weight, I allowed myself to believe in the possibility of a new beginning. The road ahead was uncertain, fraught with the potential for more challenges, but also filled with the promise of growth and deeper connection. Our journey of rebuilding trust was far from over. It was an ongoing process, a choice we had to make each day. But as we stepped into the future, hand in hand, there was a sense of unity, a shared resilience that whispered of hope. The shadows of the past might linger, but they would not define us. Together, we were learning that love, in its most authentic form, is not just about the joy of the good times, but the courage to face the bad, to forgive, and to forge a path forward, stronger for the trials we had overcome. The air was filled with the soft murmur of conversations and gentle laughter, the warmth of the room wrapping around us like a comforting embrace. Our small circle of family and friends gathered in the garden, where the setting sun cast a golden glow over the scene, painting everything with the promise of new beginnings. It was our vow renewal ceremony, a symbol of our journey through the storm and into the tentative calm that now enveloped us. As I stood beside Mark, our hands intertwined, I couldn't help but steal glances at the faces around us. There was Sarah, her eyes brimming with tears, a testament to the journey she'd walked alongside us. There were our parents, their expressions a complex tapestry of relief, joy, and lingering concern. Each person here had been a beacon for us, guiding us back to a path we had feared lost. Mark squeezed my hand, a silent message of solidarity as we turned to face each other. The vows we were about to exchange felt different this time. They were not just words of commitment, but of understanding, forgiveness, and a pledge to continue growing together. I vow to cherish our love, to learn from our past, and to build a future that honors the depth of our journey, Mark said, his voice steady, imbued with a sincerity that reached deep into my heart. And I vow to embrace the beauty of our imperfections, to foster trust anew, and to walk beside you, hand in hand, through whatever lies ahead, I responded, my voice a whisper of hope in the quiet of the evening. The exchange was simple, yet profound, marking not an erasure of the past, but an acceptance and a willingness to move forward, together. As we sealed our vows with a kiss, the applause from our loved ones felt like a gentle wave, affirming our decision to face the future as a united front. The celebration that followed was a reflection of the bittersweet journey we had embarked on. There was joy, certainly, in the laughter and dancing, in the stories shared and memories made. But beneath the surface, there was an undercurrent of reflection, a recognition of the challenges we had overcome and those that still lay ahead. Later, as the night drew to a close, Mark and I found ourselves alone in the garden, the remnants of the party a soft echo in the background. The moon hung low in the sky, casting a silvery light over the world, transforming the ordinary into something magical. "This doesn't fix everything," I murmured, my head resting against Mark's shoulder. "But it's a start." Mark nodded, his arm wrapping around me. "I know. The shadows of the past may linger, but we'll face them together. You, me, and our love, stronger for the struggles we've faced." The vulnerability between us, the acknowledgement of the fragility of our rebuilt trust, was a testament to our growth. Our journey had taught us that love was not just about the highs, but also about navigating the lows, about choosing each other even when the path was obscured by doubt and pain. As we stood there, in the quiet embrace of the night, I allowed myself to believe in the possibility of healing, in the strength of our love to carry us through the uncertainty of the future. The road ahead was uncharted, fraught with the potential for more storms, but also filled with the promise of growth, understanding, and a love that had been tested but had emerged, perhaps not unscathed, but undoubtedly true. Our story was not a fairy tale. It was real, messy, and profoundly human. And as we turned to face the days ahead, hand in hand, there was a sense of resilience, a shared determination to build a future not free from shadows, but illuminated by the light of our enduring love.